What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Spencer. Yep, I'm finally doing the deck profile for Sacred Beast. I've settled in on the Blind Go second version of it. I'll let you guys know like what you can do, obviously, to if you wanted to build this as a going first deck. It's not too hard. I've just found in my experience like never having to worry about Lightning Storm and cards like that because your spells and traps are the most important part of the deck for sure. So any like additional chance you can do to save yourself is good. And I'm not actually too worried about any going first deck outside of Drytron, like what they end up on. But that's why I play cards like Raigeki and Darkhold to give myself the best chance to let that happen. And also like Kaiju's. Kaiju's are especially kind of bad against Drytron because of Vanity's Ruler, but still, I think against most decks, it's really good right now. No one's putting up 3 negates, not typically, I should say. So, anyways, you guys know I love like a really low count of the Sacred Beast because they're just so accessible through so many different cards. Last thing you ever want to do is brick with these. 2 Hamon, 1 Raviel, and 1 Uriah. Like I just mentioned, I run 3 Kaijus. I like playing Gamecill. I suppose you can play any of these. Again, I also used to run these cards kind of at 2, but I run them all at 3 now. They're just so important. You need to see them as much as possible. I suppose you could probably like take one of these out for an Allure of Darkness or something, but then you have to like really focus on having dark monsters in your deck, and it just doesn't seem worth it. This is good for me. Raigeki and Darkhold, kind of silly to see, right? But when you play against Vanity's Ruler and other cards like that, this is really bad against Dragoon. That's why you're kind of playing the Kaijus, but not everybody is. So you don't always have to worry about it. I think right now no one has like non-destruction monsters going around the format. I really like this card a lot right now. These cards, I should say. The 3 Lightning Storm, great versatility, especially like Drytron. I feel like I'm building this deck around it. But still, there's a lot of applicable targets. Like if your opponent's playing like Zoo, Raigeki and Darkhold, obviously pretty decent. And I think this is a very heavy spell and trap format, so I run Harpy's Feather Duster. A Foolish Burial is essentially a fourth copy of Dark Summoning Beast or Chaos Summoning Beast, depending on which one you don't have. That's why I run that. This is my draw engine: a Pot of Extravagance and 2 Pot of Disparity. You may want to run a different one. You may want to run 3 Pot of Disparity. For some reason, I think this card's really going to be really expensive. I think I've heard it like over $100. I'm not sure. You guys will have to let me know in the comments if that's true or not. But yeah, this is what I run with. The 2 Cerulean Skyfire. This card's really great. Besides the fact that it you don't take any more damage if one leaves the field for whatever reason. But besides that, you can actually negate any spell or trap. It doesn't have to be on the field, which is insane. So if your opponent's activating Eldritch cards in the graveyard, you actually have the chance to negate that. Most of the time, you only need to negate 1 Eldritch card. Depends. Like if you can negate the Sanguine Surge, is like if they can have all the Conquistadors and Hakaras they want, but if they don't have access to Eldritch, they ain't doing nothing with it. The 3 Opening the Spirit Gates, obviously, this is like your search card. This wasn't the most important cards of the deck other than Dark Beckoning Beast. 2 Fallen Paradise. This is like the #1 card cannon for your opponent to get rid of when they're trying to break down your board. So you have to have a second copy. 1 Hyperblaze. It's good for the attack boost, obviously, for Sacred Beast, but it also recycles your big monsters because your opponent's going to get rid of them a lot of the time. So in grind games, this card saves your life. Otherwise, you'd lose. Because I used to only run 3, so that would actually lose me some duels. I was kind of the inspiration for adding these 2 cards. The 3 There Chameleon one is one of the best cards in the format against Zoo and Drytron and Eldritch. It destroys them. I run 2 Awakening the Sacred Beast and the 1 Skill Drain. Don't worry too much about the third effect of having all 3 Sacred Beasts on the field, because by that time you probably have already won. I don't think you'll have to worry about anything after that. But it's actually really good to get some of your... Like if they were to like do everything in their power to get rid of their Chameleon one, you could just grab it back. And Skill Drain's just there. It's going to get you like literally some wins. If you have Hamon and Raviel in the field, and you activate Skill Drain, 2 4,000 attack monsters without monster effects, for either player, it's probably going to net you a win there. Onto the extra deck, I have 2 Tech Rank 10 cards. That's number XX Utopic Dark Infinity. It's actually when it destroys something by battle, or I guess when any monster is destroyed by battle, you can detach a monster or a material, and you can actually special summon that target. That's okay. I mean, you're not going to use this all the time, obviously, but against Eldritch, I think this is probably the best target for that. So anytime you can take your opponent's Eldritch or banish it, you have to take it. So that's why I have this card. This is also just general removal. It does target, so you're not going to use this all that often. You can't even attack the turn to use it, if you can believe that. But you just never know. I love a lot of these. A lot of the rest of the extra deck is just general link monsters, because you're going to be banishing quite a few times with these cards, so you can't have anything too important. I love Borolo Dragon because it's non-targeting removal. I think that's one of the most underrated things. It's obviously like the best form of removal, but yeah, it's kind of, I feel like this card's got forgotten in the mix, but still has definitely a place in many decks. Power Code Talker negates a face-up monster on the field. It's also a rank 3 with just 3 monsters in general, any of them. So you can actually use the tokens from Braviel. You never know. That's kind of like how all of these go. Topolog Zeraboros, because you have a lot of cards on the field usually, so this could be a good game ender. Boral Sword Dragon, Access Code Talker. It's nice to have both these in a deck. Rarely can decks do that, because sometimes you'd rather have one than the other, but in this case, you don't actually have to choose. Blackluster Soldier can banish a card on the field, or can gain attack, or make a second attack, which is cool. Trisbane to get rid of spells and traps, and it's easy. It's not super easy, but it's a lot easier to actually activate these cards because you can always summon with opening the Spirit Gates each turn. That's why these are actually even worth playing. I don't have Topologic Bomber. It's a useless card right now. Unicorn, Cerberus, and Phoenix. These are the cards you'll probably summon at least once per duel. Because a lot of times you can just keep recurring these cards, and they're just kind of dead. So you might as well get something out of them, especially to proctor out some spells and traps in the back. Ice Dragon's Prison is actually a really bad card against this deck. So hopefully you have one of these in your hand before you start your plays. It's kind of another big reason for this. The way I have a blind going second deck, I should say. And you run 3 Amirage because you have to have it in your little combo. Summon 2 Sacred Beast, and it plays around the Pot of Extravagance. Most of the time you won't banish all of them, right? Onto the side, 3 Dark Ruler no more. This is something you'd side against. Drytron, Twin Twisters. These could be Cosmic Cyclones if you want, but pitching like either your Chaos Summoning Beast or your Dark Beckoning Beast, or your Dark Summoning Beast or your Chaos Summoning Beast is not a bad thing. So it's better to get rid of 2 traps than 1, in my opinion. Evenly Match is really good against Eldritch. That's why I have that. Dimensional Barrier is just a really good card. It's kind of gotten forgotten, and now it's making its way back up, but it's good against Zoo. It's good against any fusion deck. Drytron. It's definitely one of the best cards in the format, in my opinion. I don't think I've talked enough about it. The 2 Solemn Judgment and 3 Joel and Lockbird. Joel and Lockbird is just a good card in general, but especially against, I believe, Drytron. So this, like, you could have these, let's say, what is this? Like 8 cards. You could have these 8 cards in here and take out the Raigekis, the Dark Holes, the Lightning Storms, if you wanted this to being a go first deck. But what I like to do is just, like, your opponent's like, why would you blind go second? Okay, well, we'll just make you do that. And then what you do is you cite all these cards, and these are just kind of like game winners. Dimensional Barrier most of the time will win you the game because you can get a lot of big boys on the board fast. Like 8,000 damage is very easy. So if they basically just pass churn, like, you're G2G for the most part, while also gaining advantage every turn with Fallen Paradise. And if they do have cards like Lightning Storm, hopefully draw into your Solemn Judgments. That's kind of the idea. If you wanted to, you could take out the 2 Twin Twisters and put like extra copies of these. I'm just really worried about back row. It's so good right now, and it's also why you Rise in this deck as well, just as a one-off. You never know when you need to summon from the deck because your opponent can't actually activate spells and traps in response, which is really good. But yeah, that's the idea. That's kind of like how you side and where my mind is and all this stuff. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments down below. Other than that, guys, that's going to do it for today's video. Hope you have an absolutely wonderful night, and I'll see you next time.